Meta almost never releases their VR sales numbers, but they've finally announced that they've sold nearly 20 million Quests. They were careful to say Quests, so I'm imagining this includes the Quest 1, the Quest 2, and a few Quest Pros. 20 million is a huge number. When PSVR sold 5 million, they were really happy with that number. The Gear VR, the old headset that came free with phones, they announced about 5 million sold, and that's a lot of those were given out free, as in sold, so 20 million is huge. I do have a bit of skepticism when they say nearly 20 million though, because it seems like sometimes Meta's terms, they think in big company terms, like when they said the Quest Pro was going to be significantly more than $800 and it was nearly double that. I wouldn't call that significant. I'd call that a lot more personally, but apparently the way I talk or think is a little different than the way a multi-billion-dollar huge corporation thinks. Although they've sold that many, they have admitted they are struggling with retention. A lot of people get a Quest, are really excited about playing some games, and then ultimately ends up sitting on the shelf collecting dust. It keeps reaching back to this problem that we're having in the VR industry, that we're getting better and better hardware, better tech, but we still are in need of more big games and games that people really want to play. What do you think? Let me know in the comments what game you're still waiting to show up in VR. For me, it's any Grand Theft Auto game. Any of them at this point. I'll take one. Speaking of Quest sales, Quests are getting some permanent price cuts. The Quest Pro that was $1,500 at launch 6 months ago was on sale last month for $1,100, is now down to $1,000. This is starting on Sunday, March 5th, and it's rolling out in some places a little later on the 15th, but by the end of March, Quest Pros will be down to $1,000, and the Quest 2 bigger 256 gigabyte model is going to be $430 instead of $500. Now keep in mind, like 6 months ago before they raised the price on Quests, that Quest was only $400 back then. So this still isn't the best deal that it's ever had on it, but I'm hoping with this, some sales, some bundles, maybe it'll get a little better. Although most of us, I think, are waiting for Quest 3, which looks like it should be launching potentially at the end of this year. So if you're on the fence, if you really need that extra Quest 2 and you're willing to get another Quest 3 when that comes out, at least it's a little bit better of a deal, but I think most of us are holding out for Quest 3. What are you doing? Speaking of Quest 3, we're getting more and more little details as things go, and it's starting to look like there might actually be a cheaper entry Quest 3 and a higher end Quest 3 Pro. I kind of wonder if they'll bring back the word Pro with the way the original Pro was received, but basically Meta is saying that the Quest 3 needs to fire up enthusiasts. That's showing a sign that not only are they thinking about still bringing new people into VR, but they're looking to convert at this point. They probably are seeing that people are excited about the PSVR 2 and all of its features, so there may be a pricier Quest 3 that has more features that get enthusiasts fired up, but those enthusiasts who are willing to pay more. And then there could potentially be a Quest 3 Lite even in 2024. In a memo referencing this headset, they mentioned the goal for this headset is very simple: pack the biggest punch we can at the most attractive price in the VR consumer market. As we saw with the Quest 2, that $300 price that it was originally at is a great price to really spread VR. So what do you think this means? Do you think the Quest 3 originally might actually launch higher than what they've said, the $300 to $500 range, and then they'll launch another one to then satisfy that lower end price point? I'm still hoping whatever the Quest 3 comes out, I mean, if there's a lower storage model, I'm hoping that doesn't go higher than 500, because anything higher than 500 we've seen is quite a reach, and even 500 itself still keeps a lot of people out of VR. Most importantly with Quest 3 though, we need games. Keep coming back to this. Games. Speaking of games, we've talked about how Echo VR is set to be shut down in August of this year, but that does not mean that the VR esports community that loves Echo and has been using it to competitively play isn't trying to save it. We talked about the petition that's been going around. I'll leave another link in case you want to sign that. Some Echo VR players even paid to have a protest message flown over Meta headquarters saying, "Zuck, don't kill VR esports," and leading to the website fightforecho.com. Over on fightforecho.com, you can actually get to the petition that's up to about 27,000 signatures right now. They even show the media coverage that's been on it, and they're really trying to raise more awareness through this website. If you are interested in Echo being saved, you can sign the petition, you can check out the website, but ultimately they're looking at the numbers of people who are playing. If you really want it to stick around, you should probably be getting in and playing this at least daily, or trying to help show that people are interested in this again. Although if you didn't have it, they did stop you from being able to download it again. So hopefully you had added it to your library before all of this. One of the most popular social apps that doesn't show any sign of ever being shut down, VRChat, is planning to add native support for eye tracking. Great news for those of you who got the Quest Pro or are getting one now that it's down to $1,000. But of course, that's one of the only mainstream headsets right now that still has eye tracking. VRChat has always been an app that people would hope would come to PlayStation VR or PlayStation VR 2. And with PlayStation VR's eye tracking, that could also support it. But for now, Quest Pro's face tracking still isn't supported, but Quest Pro eye tracking will be, which does actually add a lot to VR when you're in a social experience with someone and you can really see what their eyes are doing. It does remind you as a player who's in it that you have to be more cautious with your eyes. You know, you can't go rolling your eyes at somebody when they say something that you didn't like, unless you want them to know you did. A lot happening in the VR world. What else is going on out there that you were interested in, or what are you waiting for? I know the Quest 3, there's talks of that. Some people are jumping in on PSVR 2 right now. We dropped a big full review on it, which I'll leave a link in case you missed that up in the corner. But I want to say thank you again for coming out. Big week over here on the channel. We just hit 35,000 thanks to all of you. So thank you once again. And I will see you in another reality.